What up, what up, what up? Welcome into Orange and Brown 365 here on Spreaker. I am your host, as always, Jeremy Somerville, and it is February 2nd, 2017. This is episode number 3 of Orange and Brown 365. You want to join the show, hit me on Twitter at SomervilleCLE, SomervilleCLE. Or if you want to send me something long and longer than 140 characters, send me an email at somervillejeremy@yahoo.com. Today, once again here on Orange and Brown 365, we are talking about quarterbacks. Probably going to be the main thing we talk about all year round. On yesterday's show, I talked a little bit about how the Browns are interested in Jimmy Garoppolo and probably in every quarterback that's going to come out. And today, Jimmy Garoppolo is on my mind once again because I spent most of last night watching not only Jimmy Garoppolo's college film, but his preseason work as an NFL player, as well as his 2 starts this season for the New England Patriots. Watching Garoppolo and comparing him to what I've seen thus far of Deshaun Watson, and Mitch Trubisky, as well as Pat Mahomes, who I've watched in limited amount of so far, as I stutter through that part. Watching Garoppolo, if I was to put him in this draft, which is probably the most fair way to do this, to just compare him because he's only got 2 starts, watching him and comparing the 2 guys, mainly that I think are Browns players, and him and Trubisky, based on accuracy, Garoppolo is head and shoulders above the rest, not only because of obviously his NFL work, but based on what he did in college, the way he throws the ball. He has one of the fastest releases of any quarterback I've watched. It's a quick release. And I look back in my notes, that's one thing I had when he came out in the Johnny Manziel draft a few years back. Quick release. His feet, for the most part, are good. He's accurate. He has very good ball placement. And he seems to be in sync with his offense and does a very good job of breaking down defenses. Now, what I do not like about him, what I saw that wasn't perfect on tape, was his footwork does get erratic at times, nothing major. It's usually when he's rolling out. He struggles rolling out, his feet running out of the pocket, at best. He struggles to throw a great deep ball. And that was still apparent in the game against the Miami Dolphins. I saw that a few times. He would either overthrow the ball or it would sail out of bounds on him on a few plays. Now, obviously, no quarterback is perfect except for maybe the guy that Garoppolo is currently the backup for, and Tom Brady. But Garoppolo is probably the best option for the Cleveland Browns. Would I give up the number 1 pick for him? If that was the only way to do it, I would like to say I would. That was it. If you only gave up number 1 pick. Because if it comes down to what Myles Garrett could do for us or what Jimmy Garoppolo could do for us, you have to go with the quarterback because this team has been in dire need of a quarterback. Yes, we are in dire need of a pass rusher, but the quarterback is where everything begins. You will never go anywhere as a franchise until you can keep your franchise quarterback. Now, the Cleveland Browns have been struggling for 18 years now, since 1999, to put any sort of consistent, other than consistent loser, a consistent team on the field. The best quarterback, and I'm going to do an article on orangeandbrown365.com where I will rank the top 10 quarterbacks of the 20-some that we've had since 1999, and I will spoil this for you. The best quarterback the Cleveland Browns have had since 1999 is the guy they took number 1 overall in 1999, Tim Couch. Outside of Tim Couch, there's been nobody. Brian Hoyer did a solid job, and we decided to remove him for Johnny Manziel. Now, was Brian Hoyer going to be your answer? Maybe not long-term getting you to the promised land, to a Super Bowl, but he was better than anything else we had, including Manziel. Manziel had the talent. He had the skill set, but he didn't have the upstairs. Garoppolo has that total package where he is a football mind. He is a guy who has learned under the tutelage of Brady, Belichick, and McDaniels, and is a guy who can come in, and I think he would have no problem turning this franchise around as far as head and shoulders wise. Now, would it end up working out? That's no one can really say if this guy is going to be a star or not. But the same can be said about everyone in this draft. And it's basically every draft. No one's a guarantee Andrew Luck type. I mean, quarterbacks are a crapshoot for the most part. That's why Tom Brady was a 6th rounder. No one could have said Tom Brady's going to be the best quarterback of all time when he had to split time at Michigan. That school up north actually said the words. With a guy like Drew Henson. I almost sneezed there. That was close. Anyway, Deshaun Watson was another guy who came out and people were saying, oh, he doesn't want to come to Cleveland. Now today he was interviewed on the NFL Network by Andrew Siciliano, and he said he has no problem with Cleveland. He decided not to come to the Senior Bowl, not because he didn't want to deal with the Browns and Hugh Jackson, but because they had just come off the national championship game, 15 games that season, and he was on the awards banquet circuit, doing all that stuff, going back and forth, traveling. He was just burned out, which, if that's why he didn't do it, understandable. Now, could it have helped him that week of practice in the classroom to maybe become the number 1 overall pick? Absolutely. Now, if he struggled with that, would it have hurt him more than it helped him? Yeah. I think there's a better chance of it hurting him than necessarily helping him. So when it comes down to the quarterbacks, Garoppolo is going to be the name you're going to hear most about. And we talked about it yesterday, and if I'm picking, he's going to be the guy that I would go after. Now, will the Patriots trade him? That's yet to be seen. What will they have to give up? That's the key. But is he worth whatever they give up? And the answer is absolutely, because if you believe this guy is going to be your long-term starter for the next 7 to 10 years, then there is no price that is too much. And remember, teams can bounce back, most teams, even the Browns possibly, can bounce back from giving away draft picks. You look at what the Redskins did. They have 3 first-round picks to draft RG3 in 2012. In 2016, he was on the Browns roster. 2015, he didn't even play. He's had an injury-prone bust of a career. But, excuse me, the Redskins were able to bounce back because they found a quarterback. Because Kirk Cousins was good enough to get them to the playoffs and to make this team and franchise thrive. Now, have they gone far in the playoffs? No, not yet. But Kirk Cousins is the reason that you can look at the Redskins and say, even without 3 first-round picks, they can still move on and get better. And as far as the Browns, when it's really giving up first-round picks, if that's what we're talking about, think of how many first-round picks we've given up, really. 2011 to 2015? I mean, 2011, you traded away and you ended up with Phil Taylor. 2012, you had Brandon Weeden and Trent Richardson. 2013, you had Barkevius Mingo. 2014, you had Manziel and Gilbert. 2015, you had Shelton and Irving. Out of all those guys, it looks like only Danny Shelton is going to be able to continue on to have a decent career. Cam Irving, who struggled at center most of the year, even though I thought he got better at times, we don't even know where he's going to be on this roster coming up. Don't put too much emphasis on giving up the picks when we've already blown picks before. And life goes on after the picks. Now, of course, the point is to get better, but everything here is a crapshoot. Don't get stuck on what you're giving up. Try to look at what you might be getting out of it. That's the best way to do it. I'll have a Jimmy Garoppolo scouting report up later tonight on orangeandbrown365.com. Also talk more about Deshaun Watson tomorrow. Break down more of the quarterbacks as I watch more film. I want to thank you for listening. Anything you want to add to the show, hit me up on Twitter at SomervilleCLE or on email at SomervilleYahoo at slur through that one. That one I just butchered. Trying to do this off the top of my head while waiting for my kids to get out of school and doped up on cold medicine. So stick with me here. At SomervilleJeremy at yahoo.com would be the email. I want to thank y'all for listening. Anyone to check this out. Remember, as always, if you live the life you love the life you live. Good night, kids.